I'm very, very excited. I'm going to request the team to bring the reports to us. And this is a joint effort by People Matters Advantage Club on Flex Forward, the transformative potential of flexible employee benefits. What you're going to see in this book is not only the critical elements of really having a data-backed benefit strategy, but also you will find a set of interviews that we conducted on how some of those organizations are implementing that. So very, very excited to unveil this together. So let's do this.
Absolutely.
All right, can you hold this for me, Zinnia?
Yes.
Thank you. And this as well. All right.
And that's how we unveil the Advantage Club ebook. It holds cutting-edge use cases of next-gen tech in 2024. It showcases how businesses can revolutionize employee engagement, productivity, and satisfaction through tech. That's yours, Esther.
And thank you to the Advantage Club group to support us and doing this report for all of you. And over to you, Sourabh.
Absolutely. Over to you, Sourabh.
Sure. Hello, good morning, everyone. So first, let me start talking about the book. So this book is very special because it talks about flexible employee benefits. A lot of people come to us, to our entire team at Advantage Club, as employees are looking for more choices in benefits, especially in the post-COVID era. It's very common for organizations to go for a flexible solution instead of giving a standard benefit to everyone. So this book tries to cover some parts of it. We have also spoken to industry leaders from companies like Tech Mahindra, PwC India, Hapag Lloyd, Havelock, to share their practical insights on how can you leverage and create a good flexible benefit program. So moving from this, now moving on to my keynote session. Today, we are going to talk about how can you leverage the HR tech which exists to create an ideal EX. We all know that you need a good employee experience to really win in the market. It's one of the core jobs that every HR today has, because it's not about creating policies or recruiting anymore. It's about creating the right employee experiences. So first, let's understand what a good EX means. So a good EX means that you have a experience for every employee which is meaningful, which is fulfilling, and it is present across all generations of employees. So let's first understand what all generations of employees are operating in today's market in the organization, and what are their needs and how has it evolved over the time. So we have all heard about these amazing words, baby boomer, Gen X. We all love Zoomers, apparently. They have probably made our job much harder. But let's understand how has it evolved over the time, and what are the expectations from their job. So let's start with baby boomers, who are the people typically born between 1946 to early 1960s. And they used to do their job for survival. Their primary objective of coming to work was to earn money so that they can feed their family. Then we moved into Gen X, which are people born between 1965 to 1980. And their primary objective for going to job, or what they would look for in an organization, would be security. And this is the era where companies like SBI, ONGC became the hottest corporate jobs in the world. Then I personally belong to millennials/Gen Y, which sounds like a cool word, but it's dated now. And people basically born between 1981 to 1994 are classified as millennials. And they primarily look for belongingness. Like when I started my career before starting Advantage Club in organizations like Oracle, Amazon, my primary focus was that whether I'm part of a bigger purpose or not, is my voice heard? Am I able to contribute to the organization? That's belongingness. And today's generation, where most of our organization, or most of the employees are coming into organization, are the Zoomers or Gen Z. This is a different breed of people, and this is where most of your kids also belong. All the people who have been born after 1995 currently falls into this category. For them, belongingness, security, survival is kind of given, and today they are looking for importance. They want it to be recognized for doing their job. It's also reflective on how they are brought up. Like if you look at an average Zoomer's life, they would have probably 4 graduation ceremonies before they even graduated. Versus that, I belonged into millennial, only had 1 graduation ceremony, that was of my master's at UCLA, and none of my family members attended, saying that if you have taken a master's, you will qualify. What's the big deal about it? And thankfully, we don't have the next generation yet, but going by the Maslow's hierarchy of need, probably you would be looking at self-actualization, when the job will even be harder, when jobs will be looked at a means to fulfill a person's life goal. Maybe we'll have to deal with that after 10 years. And some of the organizations have started taking that path, like companies like WeWork started saying that we are elevating the consciousness. So I think that's where the world will go towards, where instead of talking about people and business objective, we'll start talking about the bigger purposes of why any company exists. And that would be the only way to attract talent. But probably for next 5 to 7 years, we can live with giving awards and recognizing people. Now let's move on to how does employee experience benefit anyone. So, like as an organization, you of course get productivity benefit, you'll get better retention. Statistically, if I try to cover, like an engaged employee is 4x more likely to stay with your organization. We have seen that in our data as well, across more than 4 million employees, the people who are recognized on the platform, their retention rate are 80% better than the people who are not recognized. Then you'll get more productivity. According to a study by Gallup, like people who are engaged are 17% more productive. But other than this, you also get a lot of implicit benefits. Like if you do employee experience right, you'll get a good EVP, you will get more employee happiness, you'll get a better employee branding in the market. So in today's world, everyone is talking to each other, whether we are talking about Glassdoor, whether we're talking about Google reviews, or people just calling up each other when they are probably trying to evaluate a couple of offers. So if you do employee experience right, you will start seeing that your recruitment is becoming easier, your retention is becoming easier. And this would all be happening by an undercurrent where people are talking and saying good things about you because you are giving them the right employee experience. Now let's move on to how technology can play a role, or what are the certain touch points of an employee's life that you can leverage to give the right EX. First, of course, reward and recognition is a pillar, as we already established with the Zoomer population, that they want to be recognized for their job. In fact, the number one reason people switch their job is because they don't feel that they're not getting credit for their job. And this is what reward and recognition can solve. Then you can have flexible benefit. We have a full magazine written over that. Then as an organization, you should care about health and wellness of the organization and the employees. And then there are moments that matter and festive points, which are really relevant from an employee's life. And as an organization, these are great opportunities to really create an ideal employee experience. And last, but definitely not the least, you can create communities within an organization in which people can be associated with your organization beyond work as well. So first, let's start with reward and recognition. The first point in any reward recognition is to get a good R&R policy out and start digitizing it. The key component it is, like what we typically get asked is that, how many people should I recognize in a good R&R policy? What should be my budget? So there are certain thumb rules that we have observed across the organization. Typically, you would say 2 to 5% of the total CTC of a person is typically a good budget for a holistic reward and recognition policy. As, of course, the people get more senior, percentage reduces, but for a junior employee, maybe 4% would be an ideal amount. How many people should be recognized by reward and recognition? So there are two types of reward recognition, monetary and non-monetary. So typically, we have seen monetary awards work best when 35 to 60% of the organization receives it at least once throughout the year. And if you add non-monetary as well, which is be more peer-to-peer appreciation, you'd want 65 to 75% of your organization to be recognized at least once. If you are recognizing less than 35% people by your policy, then you're probably not doing something right, and the impact will not be that huge. At the same time, 90% of the population should not be recognized as well. So that would be typically the range that you would operate in. The second very important part is to make recognition real time, and technology can allow you to do that. There can be a couple of ways of. So 35 to 60% is your typically monetary good range, depending on how exclusive you want to make it. With non-monetary added, which is more peer-to-peer appreciation, then the range should be ideally between 55 to 70%, clubbing both of them together. So moving on to real-time recognition. So this is very powerful, and it can be done in two types. So we have seen organizations recognize on two core parameters. First, culture orientation. That's very common. that a lot of organizations believe that reward recognition should not be linked to business objectives, and it should be done when an employee exhibits the cultural behavior that organization has, and that is very powerful. So a methodology in which each of your team leaders are empowered to recognize people whenever they reflect that behavior can be very, very powerful. Then other school of thought is that I want to do KRA or business objective-led recognition, and that's also possible using technology, where on achieving certain milestones, you automate the rewarding. But in both of the things, it's very important that the recognition happens instantaneously. And it's not complicated like, say, an appraisal, which happens maybe end of the year, and it's something which hardly anyone celebrates because everybody has a little more expectation, the feedback all are murky. So reward recognition can be a way to encourage and change the behavior for a positive side. Then AI-powered personalization is something which is, of course, very relevant in today's world. AI can help you identify who should be recognized, when they should be recognized by different parameters. It can help you personalize your message better. And lastly, any reward that you're giving to an employee should be very easy to use, and AI can make that happen for you. And the last and the most important thing is the social part of the recognition. So I always tell my team leads, who are more, like a lot of them are first-time team leads, that recognize in public, criticize in private. This is very, very important, because if you're recognizing someone in a room, it's great. But when you're telling them in front of hundreds of their peers, it makes it even more special for the employee. And at this point, I would also like to add that whenever you're recognizing someone, it's very important to also personalize the message. Just saying good job is not enough. You have to say good job because you did X, Y, Z well. What do you expect from the employee in the future? How do you think that they are the right people for carrying your organization ahead? So you have to cover all of that, either physically or via maybe an audio recording or maybe a text, but that has to be there. So moving to the next part, flexible benefit. What does it essentially mean? It means you're empowering the end user to make a choice or combination of the benefits that they really want. Like, suppose you have to drive wellness within your organization. One option is you can give gym membership or maybe doctor consultation to all your employees. How many of you have done that in your organization? How many of you have extended doctor consultation to all your organization? So, see, quite a few, right? How many of you have seen more than half of their employees participate in it or use the service? That percentage is significantly lesser. I think less than 20% of people who raised the hand initially had more than even half of the people utilize it. Instead of that, instead of maybe giving an online doctor consultation or gym membership, maybe if you empower the employee to choose whether they need doctor consultation, whether they need gymming, whether they want to do yoga, or maybe they want to unfortunately buy medicine or take care of their family, it would be immensely powerful, and employees would really, really appreciate you. And you would see redemptions or utilizations in the range of 95 to 98% as well. And that is where the true benefit lies. Because the reason as organizations we are creating all of these benefit programs, because we want real usage. And in today's world, it's very hard to make choice for someone else. And as an HR, it is an incredibly hard job to probably choose for 1,000 or at times even 100,000 people. So it's best to empower the employees to choose by themselves. So similar concept can be applied into all of the things, whether you're talking about wellness, learning development, experiences. Suppose you want giving travel experiences to people. Instead of giving maybe a trip to Goa with their family, you can enable them to choose between Kerala or Goa or maybe mountains. So that employee can choose what they really enjoy. Moving on to the next leg, which is wellness. Post-COVID, every organization really cares about wellness in general. And the technology gives us a unique opportunity to actually drive these behaviors. So, like as an organization, you can create group stepathons, where say a 10-member team can be given a goal that you will walk 1 million steps, 10 lakh steps in a week. You will see a transformation of behavior. The people who would be doing 5,000 steps will start walking 10,000 because they are now working towards a bigger goal for the team. You can make it competitive. The people, it can be team versus team, it can be people versus people. And this whole concept can be applied even beyond stepathon to things like maybe fitness workouts, healthy habits like drinking water, and every other place. And employees would really appreciate this because you are not only taking care of their job and financial needs, but you're also making it more social, more engaging to be fit for themselves. Now, other important part is the moments that matter. So in an employee's life, certain stages are very important. Again, let me go back to the generation that we spoke about. So if I talk about my father, for him, birthday is not even an event. He hardly celebrated it. For me, it is a one-day event. Maybe I'll celebrate with my friends. But when you look at the new generation, there's a birth week. There's a birth month. So as an organization, you have to be part of it. You cannot skip it. For them, it's a very, very big deal. Like, I've heard of some of my employees say that I don't like my birthday because it happens in winter. I'm like, okay, who thinks like that? But this is where the world is. So as an organization, you have to take care of special moments. And there are different special moments for different people, but as long as you cover all of them, you'll cover all the generation. So like birthdays for the younger folks, maybe work anniversaries for the older folks. So there are different moments which really matter, and as an organization, it's your job to celebrate those with the employees. And also, festivities are part of this, and especially for the generation which is millennial and older, family plays a very important role when we're thinking about any job. Whether we're thinking about staying at a job, taking up a job, what our family thinks about the job is very important. And festivity is one opportunity which gives you an opportunity to touch the life of the family as well and create a positive opinion about the place they are working towards. And the last, but again, as I said, definitely not the least, is building communities. So you can build communities on common interest. I'll again share my personal example itself. So before starting Advantage Club, I was working for Microsoft in the Redmond office. They are a large workforce in Microsoft in Redmond. It's almost the city is owned by them. So more than 120,000 employees. So they had these interesting communities. Like I was part of the hiking club at that time. I was a lot more fitter. But it was exclusive to all the Microsoft employees. I was also part of the poker club, which is my personal passion. And if you really leave the job, then you lose access to those communities. At least in the communities I was part of, that was the biggest reason to stay back at the job. Even when I left the job, I was little sad but more excited because I was starting Advantage Club. But I was very sad about leaving those clubs. So this is one of the most powerful retention tool if you do this right. Secondly, it can also enable your employees to engage with your organization beyond the work time. And they would look at organization as a holistic affair beyond the work as well. Further, you can leverage communities for driving diversity, equity, inclusion. You can have maybe a women's network. You can have pride clubs. And you can even create a leaders club there for them to pass on the message. So this is one of the most powerful tools if done right. Depending on what your organization stands for, the kind of people you have, you can customize and create the clubs here. Now, some of the stats which I was talking before, like highly engaged employees are 87% less likely to leave. It's a study by people. 84% of job seekers prioritize employer brand when applying jobs. That's why EVP really matters. I will close this by saying that for driving all of this, ideally you should have a right partner as well, who is not only worried about how you feel as HR, but who is also employee-oriented and covers or embodies everything that you want to do. In an ideal world, in today's world, your technology should also be accessible everywhere. Of course, it has to be on the web and app, but it's very important that it's all integrated as well. Most of employees spend a large part of their time on communication tools like Teams, Slack, Outlook. So you have to ensure that whatever technology you're using are integrated not only to an internal ecosystem like SSO, HRMS, and everything, but it's also integrated to the place where the employee actually wants to leverage it. So that's it. I think I'll give a couple of minutes back to People Matter. Thanks a lot.